Hello and welcome to the Black Hat Bushcraft channel. Today I want to do something just totally different for my channel and discuss the topic of fishing. Now right off the bat, I'll go ahead and say I am not an expert where it comes to fishing. However, I've been fishing my entire life. Early on, I learned fishing from my elders such as my father, my grandfather, and my uncle, who were all excellent fishermen. And all of them shared things with me early on to help me get started. But the majority of what I know about fishing, I learned through trial and error, just a lifetime of being out here and doing it. And during my life of fishing, I've tried a lot of different things. Pretty much any way you can fish, I've tried it at some point, whether it's cane pole fishing in the smallest of farm ponds to fishing from a boat in the ocean, everything in between, intercoastal, saltwater fishing, fly fishing in mountain streams. I've tried all of that stuff. Out of all of those types of fishing, there's one thing that I always seem to come back to and that I always seem to enjoy most, and that is ultralight fishing. Just taking an ultralight reel and a lightweight rod and casting out small lures and catching panfish or small game fish, hearing that drag strip when you get a nice fighting fish on that. There's just something wonderful about that and enjoyable, and it's just a simple form of fishing that anybody can enjoy wherever you are. So today I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to talk about my absolute favorite artificial lure of all time. Obviously you can catch fish if you use live bait usually, but if you want to get into artificial lure fishing, or if you haven't done that, or if you want to carry something with you that you can catch fish on and not have to worry about live bait, keeping live bait alive, or having to find live bait, a Beetle Spin is the top choice for me. And the reason I say a Beetle Spin is such a great choice is because I've caught fish in saltwater and freshwater alike on a Beetle Spin. I've caught small fish and I've caught big fish all on the same lure. And it's a simple lure to fish. You just throw it out, find the right speed, reel it back in. So even beginners who aren't great with casting and things like that can fish a Beetle Spin and find success with that. So today I wanted to talk about a couple of things with Beetle Spin, some considerations, talk about a couple of little pieces of gear that I use when I'm lightweight fishing, maybe throw out some ideas for those people who might be new to all of this, and hopefully give some tips that'll be helpful. So stick with me and we'll start by talking about Beetle Spins. Now, to make up a Beetle Spin, you basically need three components. The first is some type of a rubber or soft lure, such as this little frog. And you can get things that resemble insects, you can get things that resemble minnows, or like this one, this frog. And this little green frog has been killing the fish in my area lately. There's a lot of tadpoles in the water, and so this probably looks familiar to the fish, probably resembles what they're actually feeding on. This particular one has caught several fish already. The second piece that you'll need is some type of a lead jig head like this one, and this one's been very effective for me, this bright green color. And it's just a lead jig head with an eyelet and a hook. You simply run that through the body. This one's a little torn up because it's caught, like I said, several fish. Just run that through the body and that gives you a jig like this. Now you can tie that on your line and you can bounce it off the bottom and fish like that, and I've had success with that, but never in the amount that I've had when I add a simple spinner like this. All right, and once you add that spinner, you're adding vibration in the water, you're adding that sound and that flash of light, and that makes all the difference. All you'll do here is just connect your jig to your spinner and tie your spinner to your line, and that all together is what I recognize as a Beetle Spin. And this is a custom one, so I bought the spinner separate from the jig head and the body and made this exactly as I want. This is the size of blade that I wanted on my spinner, the color of the jig head, the type of body, so these were all choices that I made. But you can go to the store and simply pick out a ready-made Beetle Spin, such as this Johnson's Beetle Spin. I always have thought of Johnson's as being the original Beetle Spin. I may not be correct in that, but that's the first that I ever learned about, the Bass Buster Johnson's Beetle Spin. And you can get all types of these things. This is one that they call a crappie kit. It's got multiple colors in it, but it'll catch a lot more than just crappie. You can get 30/2 of an ounce heads, you can get 1/4 ounce heads, 1/8 of an ounce heads, so you can custom weight the heads to the size of the fish that you are trying to catch or target, the shape of the body, the color of the blades. All of these things are dependent upon conditions. You see this is a little bit bigger lure here than these. This is like a medium size. This will be a little bit larger size one. And you can get bright colors and darker colors, all depending upon conditions. And that's really how you decide which one to get, is the species that you're targeting and the conditions that you'll be fishing in. And so that's what I wanted to talk about a little further too, is why I choose what I choose when it comes to fishing with the Beetle Spin. All right, so at least now, if you're not familiar, you know what a Beetle Spin consists of: a soft body lure, a jig head, and a spinner. And it's a deadly combination on small fish and large fish alike. There we go. Little bass there. A little bass. But again, if you're trying to put food in the pan, that's food. There's a little guy. Wherever there's a little bass, there's normally a big bass too. That frog gets them. Whenever I'm fishing a Beetle Spin, as soon as I throw it in the water, I give it one little jerk, and that gets that spinner to start functioning. Normally it will, but every once in a while it'll kind of hang up, and you give it that pull, and gets it to start engaging. You notice right now, a little tug, I can feel that spinning. Took a little fishing break while I was filming this, and look at there. Little frog, and bass like that. It's a good little break there. All right, let's talk for just a minute about spinners specifically. And this is my little shoulder bag that I carry when I'm fishing, and this whole kit is totally dedicated to fishing with Beetle Spin type lures. In here I have a little tackle box, and this has my spinners and some of my lead jig heads in here. When I open this up, you'll see that there's different sized spinners in there. When you go to buy spinners, you'll see them categorized as like a 0, a 1, a 2, 3, so forth. And I normally buy like the smallest size, the next size up, and the next size up from that. And if I'm not mistaken, that's a 0, 1, and a 2. Could be off there. I don't pay too much attention to the number of the spinner, but really just look at it and I know the size by eye. Anything larger than say a number 2 is starting to get towards that spinner bait, like a bass spinner bait size range. And so in those cases, I just switch over to the spinner bait and fish for bass specifically. When I'm using Beetle Spins, I'm normally wanting to target smaller species as well, and especially if I'm fishing for food, because normally you're going to catch 5 to 1, even 10 to 1, those smaller panfish to every nice sized bass that you're going to catch most likely. You just catch them in larger numbers. There's more of them, so usually that's what you're going to catch. And by fishing with these smaller lures, you greatly up your chance of catching those things. However, as I just showed you with that previous clip, you can catch a nice sized bass on these same lures. When you look at these spinners, you'll see there's two distinct colors there. There's gold and there's silver. And there's a general rule that you use with this. If the water is really dark and stained or muddy, or if it's a very overcast day, you tend to go with gold. You want your spinner to match the conditions. To me, that's kind of contrary to what you would think. You'd think dark water use a brighter spinner, but in reality, it's recommended to use gold in darker water or on overcast days. And then on bright days, sunny days, or in more clear conditioned water, you want to use that silver spinner. And I've done that and always kind of abided by that for the most part, and it works. But I've also broken that rule sometimes and had success too. So, you know, you can use them interchangeably if you want, but it's generally recommended gold for dark water or cloudy days and silver for clear water or bright sunny days. So just a little discussion there on the spinners and how you might decide what sizes to buy and what conditions to apply gold or silver. Once you've decided on your spinner as far as gold or silver and what size, how large or small you want to go, the next consideration is what type of a body are you going to put on that jig head. In this case, I've got two extremes for you to look at. I have a black with a yellow stripe, and then I have a white with a red dot. These are both great lures. I've caught fish on both of these patterns. Generally, if you're using a gold spinner, if you're following the general rule I just gave you about spinners, then you're going to be using a darker lure. Darker colored lures go for darker colored water, and if it's a brighter day or if the water's more clear, then we tend to go with a lighter colored lure. That's just a general rule. Again, on sunny days, I've used black and caught fish and vice versa. Now, the kind of split the difference. I've found a lot of success in all conditions with things like this green lure. Green has been a very successful color for me, and I think what we see with our eyes is not exactly the way things show off in the water as far as fish go, and you can get kind of scientific with that, which I'm not an expert on, but the way we see those colors is different when it's in the water to those fish. But I've had a lot of success with greens, orange, even pinks sometimes have caught fish for me. Right now the killer combo, as I've already said, is this green head with this dark bodied frog with the light underside. I mean, I'm just catching fish on that every time I fish it. And so again, kind of splitting the difference is a good general lure for most conditions. But you know, if you fish with a lure for 15-20 minutes and you don't get a hit, switch it up. Go from one extreme to the other, split the difference. And a lot of times if you change lures a time or two, you might find something that the fish like better. It might better resemble what the fish are actually feeding on in your area. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of tadpoles in the water right now, and a lot of tadpoles transitioning into frogs, so this resembles what's out in the water and what the fish are actually feeding on. So again, the better you can match what the fish are actually hitting, then the better your chances are of catching fish. Whenever you go to fish with the Beetle Spin, there's several different techniques that you might use. One of those techniques is to throw the Beetle Spin out and then kind of jig it back in. You reel a little and then pull, reel a little and pull. And I've caught fish that way. A lot of times when that lure starts to drop before you pull it, fish will see it as a wounded, like a minnow or whatever, and they want to grab at it. And I've caught fish that way. But to me, the very best and the most productive way to fish with a Beetle Spin is just a steady retrieve. And some days you want to run a little bit faster retrieve to get the Beetle Spin right at the surface of the water because the fish are hitting towards the top of the water column. And some days you want to reel a little slower and let that thing run about 6 or 8 inches down in the water, even deeper. And the key is just to try different techniques on any given day to find what the fish like. Once you find where the fish starting to hit, reproduce it over and over. But for me, the ultimate way of fishing a Beetle Spin, and the way I've caught the vast majority of fish on it, is just a slow, steady retrieve. Throw it out, retrieve it back at a steady speed, and that tends to be what produces the most fish for me. All right, so whenever I'm fishing a Beetle Spin type lure, I'm almost always using some type of an ultralight combo system like this. And this particular one is a ZEBCO 33 micro, and it's on a 33 micro telecast rod, which you can see compresses down. This is an awesome little backpacking pole, which you can use for hiking or carrying camping, things like that. And it's not a burden. You could easily strap this thing to the bottom of your pack or stick it in the side pocket, and it's just perfect. And this is an old style spin cast type reel, but there's just something really cool about fishing with those. And these are very smooth running reels, these 33 micros. I am blessed to have some really nice ultralight spin type reels or open face type reels, but I don't know, there's just something fun about these old spin cast or closed face type reels that I enjoy. I also have a updated version. This is the newest one that ZEBCO offers, and it's kind of like the updated version of that. It's also a telecast type rod, and both of them are just excellent. I can't say enough good stuff about those two combos. I really enjoy using them. Like today I had to hike about a mile to get to where I'm at right now, so it was nice to have those rods compressed down and just packed away. Just simple. And that's the thing about ultralight fishing and Beetle Spin fishing, is you don't need anything super fancy or super complicated. You know, you can take something like this right here and put it in a child's hand and have them fishing in no time. And with the Beetle Spin, they're catching fish, whatever's biting, whether it's brim, bass, whatever. That's what I love about it. You can take this, again, put it in a child's hand and see them fall in love with fishing and with the outdoors as well. So the other thing to think about is when it comes to just putting food on the table, so to speak, you know, something simple like this that you don't have to put a lot of money into, and a lure that's going to catch fish. It's just an awesome combo and something that's worthwhile to have. Alright, so I know I've talked a lot about Beetle Spins and about ultralight fishing, and I'm sure there's some of you guys that are way more knowledgeable about this topic than I am. But I did want to throw this out there just in case there were some people that haven't fished like this before, haven't used this type of a lure. Maybe this will give you a few little tips and tricks that you can use to get started. This is a great time of year, this being May 1st as I'm filming this video. It's a great time to get out and to put this to use. It's a wonderful self-reliant skill. You know, this day and age that we find ourselves right now, as of today, going to the stores, not a whole lot of meat available. Now, I hope that's a very temporary situation, but I like knowing that I can come out here to this lake, and today I've caught, I think, 6 fish, probably a total of 3 pounds, 2.5, 3 pounds of fish. I could feed my family if I needed to, and I've had fun doing it. So it's a great self-reliant skill. It's just for fun, and it's a hobby, but it's also a way that you can put food on the table if you had to. So it's a great self-reliant skill in that way. I want to thank you guys for your time and interest and for tuning in. Please feel free to comment and throw some of your own tips down below in the comment section. That will be beneficial for me and for others that are watching this video. We can all learn together. I appreciate all your kind words, your support, and I look forward to talking to you guys with some more information on this very soon. I'll probably do some reviews on these 33 micro telescopic rods because I enjoy them so much, and maybe talk about some more fishing things to come. Until then, you guys take care, be safe, God bless. See you soon.